That's the biggest red flag. Your idea of provider man is massively skewed by the level of stagnancy that you've put yourself under. Yeah, you want a man that has money, but him paying your bills is not at the top of your list. 'Cause you don't even realize that, man, as quick as that guy has that Lamborghini today, that could be your man. You can marry him, and in 5 years, bro, he loses it all. Where does that leave you? Dating is more about positioning first yourself and then that new self in proximity. That's how you get the good relationships. That's how you get the provider guy. So there is no cookie cutter of the perfect guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Shawn Anthony, but listen, I know you are back on the show, but listen, guys, this episode is special. It's different. Most importantly, we're going to be talking about something that you are probably thinking about right now, dealing with it, but maybe even dealing with it from a family life, marriage life, or perhaps in business, and that is relationships. And I have an expert here. You're already probably going through the show notes. You're probably already going down and clicking on her profile. The one and only Coach Li is in the building. What's going on, fam?
Hello, family. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for having me, Shawn. I'm excited to get into the tea today. I'm super, super, super excited. I've been looking forward to doing your show in particular. I'm going to give your audience something to listen to today. For sure.
Oh man, I like this a lot, right? So let's break it down, right? I really like this. I wrote down a bunch of questions because I know the audience, they're gonna be like, Shawn, ask her this, Shawn, ask her that. So before you became the woman who teaches other women on how to get their doctorates paid for, what moment made you say, I'm never settling again?
To be honest with you, it actually stemmed from the business side. Where that initial feeling was triggered was getting fired from my last job. I said, you know what? I had started at this dealership. I was doing crazy numbers in the first 30 days, sold 5 cars, like unheard of. And they fired me because of my social media. Ironically, the thing that has catapulted my lifestyle. But they fired me. And I was like, I will never let anyone dictate, determine, and control where my money comes from, what I receive out of putting in work, right? Like the reciprocity, the return on my time investment, never again. And then it kind of trickled over, and I was like, hmm. My life started a little bit, my business started a little bit differently than most. And it rolled into sugaring of me having that, then realizing in my relationships, like, there's no reciprocity here either. I'm not getting paid my worth. Right? So in business, it was monetary, literally. In dating, it was a little bit of everything. It was me taking care of everything. It was me wearing the pants in the relationship. It was me carrying all of the weight. And it was so heavy that once I lost the job, I was like, that's it. Done. I will never ever settle again. I will never let anyone else dictate and determine my value, what I'm worth, and what I receive. So from there, the trickle effect started.
Oh man, I love that answer, right? It's so many people that go through life and they're trying to figure it out. They don't understand, like, hey, listen, that thing that happened to you thought was bad for you actually opened the door to new opportunities. So I gotta ask you this. Like when you think about it, did soft life choose you or did you choose it after a hard life?
Um, when I started, it wasn't called soft life, right? It was just like freedom. And I wanted to be able to say yes to myself. And so I chased that yes. I would love to be one of those girlies that are like, the soft life found me. No, honey, I searched for it like I searched for this wig, baby. I was on the hunt to figure out how I was going to find freedom, how I was going to find what looked good on me, what looked good for me. And so, that pursuit of freedom, at the time my mind was so focused on minuscule things like staying alive and afloat literally, like keeping myself above water, that it wasn't lavish lifestyle like 2 days ago deciding to go to a trip and booking St. Thomas just because we want to, right? That wasn't a feasible thing then, that they were much smaller, but it was like saying yes to a spa day to myself, saying yes in the damn grocery store to myself. And so the pursuit of that is what stumbled me in. So I guess it kind of found me, stumbled me into soft life. It started off as sugaring of revenge dating and like, I'm so sick of taking care of men. They're going to take care of me now. Arr, right. And I wore my masculinity on my sleeve, and I was like, "F you, pay me." Like, no, now it's that time where men are gonna pour into me. And I realized kind of along the way, like, "Oh, wait, now that I'm 30 and I want real companionship, I can blend these 2 worlds together and get the best of both." So, somewhere along the way, it found me, but initially, it was the pursuit of just saying yes to myself in freedom.
Man, that's
Saying yes to
good.
myself in freedom opened the door to dating. Who knew?
Man, that's good. That's good, right? Saying the yes to freedom. I think a lot of people right now are like, all right, I gotta lean more into that. When you look at like your social media content, you look at all the podcasts you've done. I mean, you do podcasts, the clips go viral. I mean, people love the message that you're putting out there. I can only imagine they're thinking a lot of different things. What's one myth, right? Like what's one myth people believe about you from social media that's just dead wrong?
Oh, man. Okay, so oftentimes when people come across my page, they find me through clickbait, through me saying something like, "Men who make 50K shouldn't date," right? So immediately, their immediate perception is like, "She dates for money, she's a gold digger, and, they date for dollars over there, they're doing hoe shit," and I can say all the way up until the host stuff, you're right, I can agree with you. We do date a specific way. We do only entertain a specific caliber of men because we've elevated into that woman. So rightfully so, we've earned that rite of passage to expect a certain level when it comes to what our man brings to the table. However, the common misconception is that we only date men for money. And although money is a byproduct of the standards that we set, right? And the kind of men that we are putting ourselves in proximity to outside of our normal socioeconomic standard, right? Outside of our normal routine, we intentionally place ourselves in proximity. We intentionally pick up new habits, hobbies, find pickleball, like we do intentionally date. We are going to places specifically because not just to find a man, but to put ourselves in the energy of receiving him. So, common misconception, we don't date for dollars, we don't date for money, but we do, though. You're kinda right.
I like where we're going with this one. You know,
If
this
you
this big.
thought that, you were right and wrong.
Well, how about this? What's more powerful? Like when you think about this, what's more powerful? Beauty, boundaries, or belief?
Belief, hands down, without even a second thought, because I have been the ugly fat girl with messed up teeth, no style, belly hanging over the belt. I've been that girl and still have been showered to the degree of what that girl gets, right? Because when you don't take care of yourself a certain way, you only get so much. So to that degree, I've seen like almost magic happen. Like, they say we're what are they? The red pill people, right? They say, like, "You're too old, you have kids, you can't." And it's like, no, I've seen it happen too many times now. I've seen the work happen for women that are beautiful, have the biggest struggles, so beauty can't possibly be it. Boundaries, I've seen work in your favor and completely against you when you don't know how to set them, when you haven't been taught what are healthy and safe boundaries, right? That keep you protected versus the ones that you put in place to protect you, if that makes sense, right? And so it all boils down to belief. If you believe that you can have a certain lifestyle, your mindset will start to release the actions that start to place you in position to receive the things that you desire. So if you're chunky, you can still get a high value man. If you're got 2 kids, you can still get a man with money who will marry you. I'm marrying off a student in 2 weeks out in California who met me 2 years ago, and she's now getting married. She has a child. She's what the red pill people will say, "Can't do it." She's really pretty, struggled her whole life in dating. Met me 2 years later, she's married. So it's belief. It's belief. My son, they used to have a saying at their school, which I thought was so corny until, I started to really get into coaching. And that was, if you can believe it, you can achieve it. And I was like, that's so corny. But my Delulu belief is what built my entire lifestyle. Every time the account goes off, every time I say yes to myself, that delusion, the belief is what got me. The belief is the basis of your bank account. If you take nothing else from this call, from this live stream, from this podcast, I need you to take with you, belief is the basis of your bank account, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I was over here. You know how like people, you talk to people. I come from an era where my brother and I, we just talking like rap lyrics, and we can call each other. We'll say a rap lyric, and we immediately know how the other one is feeling. And as you were talking, I was over here making faces as if I was going back to the Smack DVD days, and they're doing battle raps, and they're going back and forth. And so that's
Yeah,
so
my
true,
ladies
right?
like to sing "Snatch a Wig." Coach likes to secure it before you come because 'cause I'm gonna give you the truth. It doesn't always tickle, but we need to hear it.
Facts, facts. I mean, Coach Lee, right now you snatch a wig. So I got to ask you, right? I want you to give me like your red flag radar, but for business partnerships.
Ooh. So, m let me just preface this with, they are the same on both sides, in dating and in business. So for my ladies that are watching that are like, "Okay, coach, tell me more." This is for both. For my fellas that are watching, take note because the kind of woman you want is inside of the brain right here. I'm about to give it to you. So red flags in business is number 1 biggest red flag. If you don't know what you want, you can't work with me. Not only from a business collaboration aspect, but as a coach, I will not take your money, and I take $20,000 at a time from my clients to work with me, and I will say no to that 20K if you don't know what you want from me, because 'cause we're gonna spend more time trying to figure it out versus actually executing and get to the goal and where we wanna be. It's gonna be a hard journey if you don't know what you want. You have no idea where you're going. You have no idea what you're getting, so you get whatever. That's 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 the biggest red flag. And 2 is integrity. Doing what you say you're gonna do is a big one. Shout out to the many, many, many business relationships I've built along the way. Skittles, Icing Agency, Runway Billionaire, like, these are people that have always stood on their integrity and went above and beyond it. Like, they wanna see you win so much so that sometimes they have to peel back because they want it more than you. You know?
Facts.
So, sometimes they want it more than you, and you have to check yourself and your own integrity and be like, "Well, wait, damn," do am I willing to do what it takes?" So those are 2 major red flags in dating and business. If you don't know what you want, you get whatever, and integrity is the key. If we wanna build in anything, we've gotta do what we say we're gonna do.
Facts. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more there. And it's always so interesting. I got to ask you, you give all of this great advice and you've helped so many people in terms of relationships and continue to do that to this day.
I have, and I
Sometimes,
do, and I do.
well, I got to ask you this. What's a time like you didn't follow your own strategy and you paid for it?
Oh, ooh, so I have so many of these. I'll tell you about the most painful one. The most painful one was me hiring, so I teach my students, do not hire an additional coach beyond me until you execute on this level and you know, again, what you want from the next person, what you want them to do for you, what the expectation is. And I didn't follow my own formula and I lost well over $100,000, 52 in liquid cash, and or 57 in liquid cash and another about 50 to 70,000 in potential that we could have made if we just knew what we wanted going in. So I hired somebody to be a fixer and to fix everything for me and I didn't even know what was wrong with it in order to get it fixed. It's like, ladies, if you're listening, fellas, if you have, the woman in your family that complains about this, you go to the mechanic and you're like, "It's making this sound." And you're like, "It's like," and you just expect them to fix it, right? In hopes that they're gonna fix it, not screw up anything else, and charge you a fair price. And because I didn't know what was even wrong, I didn't know how to fix it. I didn't have any interest in learning because I was too busy, doing the front end hustle of the business instead of focusing on the back end. And this person took me for every penny. So much of my time, so much of my business, burned so many bridges with clients and customers because we just decided to just price gouge and, like, raise all the prices because the value was there, but there's a way you do that. Biggest mistake I made was me not knowing how to diagnose what was wrong and learn along the way at least a few steps so that at the end I could cross check what they did. I couldn't even turn around after that 8 months and say like, "Here's what you built," because I had no idea.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Well, listen, I mean, I think those learning lessons make us who we are, right? At the end of the day, like having that opportunity now just sharpens like your whole tool belt and what
Yeah,
you're doing. I, I got
and
to ask you this. Go ahead.
Sean, I have to say this because we said we were gonna touch on relationships, right? So I feel like I would be doing y'all a disservice if I
Are we
didn't
going there?
say same thing in relationships, right? If you go into a relationship with somebody and you have no idea what you want from them, you will turn around 6 years later, leave with a broken heart, a bad bank account, maybe a worse body than when you walked in because you got comfortable and lazy, like the same standards that you set in your business and your business relationships are the same standards you need to set in your actual emotional, physical relationships with people. Because if I spent 45 minutes with you on this podcast and had no idea what you wanted from me and we didn't talk beforehand and you didn't have your questions ready to go, right? We'd just be on here just blah blah. And nobody gets anything. And we walk away from the relationship. Your our listeners are like, "Pfft, what was that for?" Same way you left your last relationship. Just saying.
Tell them,
What
tell them.
was that for? What did I gain? Walk away better than when you walked in. Know what you want.
Don't
So
let that
you
check engine light come on.
you better get that oil changed before that check engine light come on, honey.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, let's talk about it, right? Like if like you had to, let's get creative. If you had to create a LinkedIn for just dating,
Mhm.
like what would be in the job description of a provider man?
Ooh, so that's a great question. And I have to keep it a little bit vague because what that looks like for me is very different than what that looks like for every single one of you who are listening right now. And that's the key to my success with my blueprint and how I work with my students versus anywhere else that you find a dating course or a coach, because they're going to coach to what has worked for them and them in the past. My goal is to figure out what it is you want and give you the tools to be able to get there. So there is no cookie cutter of the perfect guy because that's my standard of the perfect guy. We do a worksheet called Building Me Slowly that asks questions that make you think about you versus think about your partner. So what you end up with is what you need in order to be reflectively compatible with this person. Now you can find the person once you find you. So high value provider man, a list from someone who's hates their job that they're at and is too scared to shift, hates the relationships that they have with men in the past, and every single relationship has been a fail, hates what's going on in their bank account and hasn't done anything about it. When you're in that condition, your idea of provider man is massively skewed by the level of stagnancy that you've put yourself under. So you start writing down things like yacht and Lamborghini and right and you don't even realize that, man, as quick as that guy has that Lamborghini today, that could be your man. You can marry him and in 5 years, girl, he loses it all. Where does that leave you? Where does that leave you? So the way that I do this is I help them understand what a compatible partner looks like for them, who complements them, what characteristics and qualities complement who you are. Because if you're a woman that is already making 6 and 7 figures, like many of my clients, yeah, you want a man that has money, but him paying your bills is not at the top of your list. Because that's something you don't even think about. You're not even worried about all that stuff is on autopilot. Like auto pay is doing its thing. Your accounts are over full and bountiful. That's not your problem. My student that I have right now who just said, "Your product works." She showed me her ring picture. I posted it on my Instagram. She's like, "I have to let you know it works. I was a high six-figure earner and couldn't get or keep a man. And it's because of all of the things that I learned through your program. That it's not the surface of provider being rich and having things and buying me things and that it's more dating is more about positioning first yourself and then you that new self in proximity. That's how you get the good relationships. That's how you get the provider guy. So if you want to know what to write in your profile, like your LinkedIn, I wouldn't necessarily recommend for dating, although Facebook dating has really been doing its thing for my people. It has, even Instagram has been really doing its thing. Um, I would strongly suggest think about the qualities you're looking for in your person that complements you the most. Don't think about the surface level of superficial things that you can attain on your own if you just put the pedal to the metal and buckle down. Think about all of the things that you need to support you in your lifestyle, to make you feel safe, to make you feel protected. What are those qualities? What are those characteristics? Not just what he has, not just his humor. I mean, that's great and all. That having a sense of humor is great, but you got to go deeper than the surface so that you can find compatibility.
Let's chat about it real quick. I think there's a lot of female founders and entrepreneurs, CEOs, high level, high earners, and you deal with them all the time. And I see them constantly make it to a certain point in their life, and they're wondering, they're thinking about that. Could they have a man? Could they have a husband? You've built an entire empire. And I think a lot of people behind the scenes, what they're afraid to say is they're afraid they're going to lose what they're creating. So as a woman, like that's already built an empire, how do you protect that while being soft?
That's because we've correlated at some point between, way back when Neo was doing Miss Independent, all the way through Independent Ladies, all the way through now what is City Girls and has changed the game, right? Now we got Carisha, please, like, give me my money. Okay. After watching all of this kind of evolve, I realized that we've been tricked into thinking that money is masculine and that big business and being a big badass boss lady means that you have to be a bitch. And it's not the same. It's not the most feminine, soft thing you can do for yourself is create a sustainable passive income. It is the softest thing you can do. It is softer than meeting a man that's going to put you in a mansion because guess what? The same way you got them is typically the same way they go. And if he finds someone finer than you that does it cheaper, faster, longer for less money, he's out. And even if you marry him, you're leaving with a sustained lifestyle. This is all you're getting. You are limited. The most soft thing you can do as a woman, the most feminine thing you can do as a woman is create freedom in your finances. It eliminates a lot of stress, honey. It eliminates you feeling like this man has to do for you, or I'm not going on a date unless, he's going to compensate me in some way. There's some pieces out there that are pretty good and do offer good advice, and I'm sure there's results somewhere. But every piece of sprinkle advice I've ever heard has been like, throw it away immediately. How is that working? Things like treat him poorly, don't talk to him. Things like, charge him a meat fee or charge him a fee when he makes you upset and put a price on your time and don't allow him to take you on a coffee date. Do you know how many women I have that are married to millionaires right now that started on a coffee date? Stop letting these people create facades for you, and they haven't even been in the dating world they've been married for 20 years. Be so for real. There's no way. Like, if I go to the doctor, I want the surgeon who's worked on some hearts, right? Like, recently. You know what I mean? Like like, "Hey, when was your last surgery?" 20 years ago is crazy. So, hearing things like, "You are the prize." Ladies, you're not ready for this. You're going to be upset, and that's okay. But I'm going to tell you, you're not the prize. You're not the prize. It's a lie. They've gassed you up to think that you're the prize, but you're not the prize. You're not the prize until you play the game. And most of you aren't dating right. So, how could you possibly be playing the right game to be the right prize to the right person? It's like there's different layers of prizes, right? Like you go to the fair and there's the bottom layer that everybody gets. It's like participation trophy. You take that shit home, you give it to the dogs, they tear it apart, right? That's what happens to that low level prize. If you want to be the prize, the one that they invest extra money in because you don't really win it the first time, you know? Like even though you're a basketball all-star, you cannot get that ball in that rim unless you spend $60. You're not getting it on that first 20. You're not. You're not. Most of you are the prize that goes to the guy that spends the first 5, realizes he's a loser, and walks off with you in his back pocket. because you've been told you're the prize. You are, in fact, a prize. You just forgot that, like, there's levels to prizes. And, like, you could be the dog toy prize, or you could be the one that gets put on the shoulders and walked around the entire fair and shown off for everybody to see. And I want you to see my prize, and I want you to see my prize, right? Nobody ever wins that top prize and just leaves it there or gives it to the dog. No, you take it home, you put it on your bed, you display it. You might gift it for Valentine's Day or something. I don't know, but you never just throw it away. Nobody ever leaves from winning that and turns around to the little boy and says, "Hey, do you want this 4-foot teddy bear?" No, he is walking around with that thing proudly. So you determine what prize you are. You wanna be the prize and listen to the advice, go for it, because it is in fact semi-true. You are a prize. But until you learn how to play the game the right way, until you know how to structure your court so that the first shot doesn't win every time, you're gonna be bottom level prize versus the one they have to climb up on the ladder to get.
Oh man, you're talking good, right? Because those fair prices, those prizes, one, you got to pay the right price for it to even want to play it.
Mhm. And
You
sometimes
wanna-
the prize is only $20 and you paid 150 for it. Those are the girls that are like, "How did she get that man?"
listen, listen,
She knew
Coach
how
Lee,
to play
listen.
the game.
I got to
She
ask
knew
you.
how to play the game.
She had to know how to play the game. Let's talk about it, right before we get out of here, because I think this is important right now. There's a lot of women listening, and a lot of women listening right now are exhausted. Let's just call it what it is, right? Who's doing it all? Like, what's your message to her?
Mm. The woman who is fed up from doing it all has to learn how to regain trust in other people, not just men. So start with the people within your inner circle. Start making people show up for you. Start asking for help in the grocery store from something that you know you could reach if you tried, but there's a person right here who's taller than you. So you're going to get them to help you instead. Start to condition yourself to take the weight off in the smallest areas possible, will start to feel weightless, right? So that you're no longer having to get out there and get your hands dirty. You are supplementing these things that create softness. You don't wash your car, you have somebody come and wash it for you. You don't do your lawn, somebody comes and does it for you. You don't take out your trash, you hire the neighbor kid across the street for $10 a week and he does all of your garbage. Start to treat yourself softer. Just because you feel like you're in this really, really heavy space doesn't mean that you can't lift weight until you meet a man. And the beautiful part about doing this is as the weight begins to shed, not only do you become softer, but you become more receptive. You become open. You become now a little less guarded. Cuz you're not like, is this guy going to take out my garbage? Cuz you that's already taken care of. You're not like, "Is this guy gonna take care of my" your mechanic calls you every 3 months to remind you that it's time for an oil change. Like, make your life less heavy so that you have room, number 1, for a man in your life, right? And 2, you're ready to receive him when he does find you. Because if you're conditioned and hard on the outside, no man that your dream guy, he's going to see you, see the mess, and walk right past it because he can't even break through the front door. This thing is guarded. Start to create softness around you, and watch how the weight begins to drop off. Because the bills are the bills, baby. You don't get to lose those no matter what, ever. Even if your man is paying for everything, you're gonna find another bill. That's what we do. Women are great at spending money. So get it out of your mind that the weight comes from you making decisions and taking care of bills and doing that's not where the weight comes from. The weight comes from not having enough money to be able to free yourself from a lot of the weight that is bearing down on you.
Oh man, you're talking good. You're talking good.
Step one
Listen,
is let's get to a bigger bag.
let's talk this though. There's a lot of people right now listening, and they're probably saying, "Coach Lee, just give me one thing. Just whisper. Just give me one thing." If someone's listening right now, whether it's the morning drive, whether it's late at night, and you could whisper one truth in every woman's ear right now, what would you say?
Prepare for your millionaire. I would tell her to prepare for your millionaire. The men that you're getting are a direct reflection of you in a masculine form. So if they're not doing what they say they're going to do, you probably struggle in that area too. If you're getting guys that don't take care of themselves and their body, you're probably in that area too. If you're getting men that aren't truthful, I'm sure there's some layers of dishonesty that you're having within yourself. Maybe not even outwardly to other people. Maybe you don't lie to others, but maybe you lie to yourself. So prepare for your millionaire, that $1 million man that you have in your mind, right? That guy. Let me also say, it's not the richest man in the room; it's the one most willing. Okay, so prepare for him. Prepare for your millionaire because you're going to get exactly a reflection of who you are.
Man, that's good. You talking good. Guys, this has been a phenomenal episode. I know right now you guys are wanting to learn more about Coach Li. You want to know where you can find her. You want to know how you can get involved in any of her programs, any of her offerings. So just give us all the info so we can just go ahead and sign up, fam.
Absolutely. Everywhere at Sweet to Elite, Instagram, TikTok, Sweet to Elite. A lot of my genius, a lot of my work in my world is on Instagram. I just favor Insta. So you can find me over there, dive into some lives, subscribe to the back end, get some juicy tea. And right now there is an opportunity for you to grab 25 of my top courses for just $25 for those people that are new. Just shoot me a DM with the word vault, VAULT. I'll unlock it for you for 25 bucks. And you can kind of start to step into my world, get your feet wet, and start to apply some of the things you learn to your world and watch how it shifts and watch how quickly transformation happens in your dating and your business once you get closer.
Oh man, phenomenal interview. Make sure you go do that. And for those that have been listening, I want you to always remember, dream it, believe it, go out and get it. We'll see you next week. Yo, what you think? I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I want to know what you learned. So if you wouldn't mind, would you take a screenshot of you listening to the podcast on your phone right now? Upload to your Instagram stories, tag me at Shawn R. Anthony _, and then let me know in that Instagram story what is one thing that you learned. I love hearing from you, my listeners, thought leaders, former or current students all around the world. Let me know, and while you're doing this, go inside the podcast app, subscribe, leave a 5-star review and a 5-star rating. Again, this helps us reach more people. And if you want to be a part of this mission, helping us change the world one person at a time, it makes a massive difference by you leaving a review. Thanks so much. I'll see you next week. And remember, dream it, believe it, go out and get it.